Hey, what's up? Hope you're feeling ready for some Battlefield news because there's a fresh patch rolling out that actually moves a few things in meaningful ways. The devs shipped a seasonal package called Winter Offensive that brings a frosty version of Empire State, Ice Lock Empire State, with a new event mechanic that can literally change how fights play out on that map, plus a short bonus path battle pass and a cheeky new melee weapon, the Ice Climbing Axe. If you've been frustrated with footsteps and enemy awareness, this patch puts a lot of effort into audio clarity. The team says they prioritized soldier audio, so footsteps should be more distinct and directional now, which matters more than you think when you're clearing buildings or stacking up on an objective. That change, paired with a handful of controller and HUD tweaks, aims to make engagements feel more intentional and less like random death. Beyond the seasonal fluff, there's a boatload of stability and quality of life fixes tucked into the notes. Weapons got reliability and tuning adjustments, vehicles saw behavior tweaks to make them less unpredictable, and the team applied map-specific fixes meant to stabilize objectives and reduce awkward round ends where matchmaking would get weird. These aren't giant meta flips, but they're the kind of surgical fixes that change how often you get frustrated versus how often you feel like you won a fair fight. The Winter Offensive event itself introduces a freeze mechanic in the event modes, which adds a new layer of environmental danger on top of the usual team fights. That mechanic, together with shorter, more intense skirmishes on the ice-covered streets, tends to push players into close and medium-range encounters, which reshuffles the utility of certain loadouts for the duration of the event. If you hop into a match expecting long, open-range engagements, you might be in for a surprise when things start icing over and the map funnels focus into choke points. On the competitive side, REDSEC received some attention. The patch contains targeted fixes and weapon adjustments that could subtly shift what's strong in those playlists. It's worth keeping an eye on how a few weapons perform over the next handful of matches, because small tuning adjustments can raise a weapon's viability from usable to dominant pretty quickly in that environment. The patch notes also lean into portal support for Ice Lock, which means custom modes and creators will be able to use the winter map during the event window. There are also a number of smaller but meaningful things, some fixes to hit registration and visibility, tweaks to how certain UI elements behave, and adjustments meant to curb exploitative behaviors that were affecting matchmaking and XP flow. Those backend and anti-exploit changes aren't glamorous, but they usually pay dividends in the long run by making matches feel fairer and progression less grindy. The community has been pushing for a more stable experience, and this patch reads like a direct response to a lot of that feedback. From a player perspective, the immediate takeaway is that the patch is a mix of content and lots of under-the-hood fixes. The new map and event add a seasonal burst of excitement, while the audio and weapon vehicle tweaks quietly aim to make each firefight more consistent. It's not a seismic rebalance, but it's the kind of consistent, iterative work that improves the day-to-day feel of the game. Expect some short-term shifts in loadout popularity during the event, and enjoy the little quality-of-life wins when your footsteps actually line up with what you hear. Overall, this patch reads like a team trying to stitch together a better core experience while giving players a bit of seasonal fun. Winter skins, the Ice Climbing Axe, a compact event battle track, and at the same time patching up long-standing annoyances that keep cropping up in multiplayer matches. Whether those fixes land perfectly will be plain once the community has had a few days to play the event and test the tuning. But on paper, it's a solid move towards smoothing the rough edges that have been bothering players.